What's up guys, Scott here from Icon Vehicle Dynamics again, and we're here today to talk about the rear track bar on the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. At least the 4-link version of the truck. There's a leaf-sprung version. We'll talk about that guy later, but right now it's all about the rear track bar. The track bar's primary job is to hold the rear axle centered under the truck as the suspension's moving. And the stock unit here is nothing to write home about. She's real thin wall steel tube, welded on a bonded bushing on either end. Basically not that strong of a unit. And a track bar actually sees quite a bit of loads through the suspension travel, especially if you're really getting after it off-road. There's a lot of room for improvement, as well as the rubber bonded bushings on either end are really restrictive. They don't flex very well, and it's going to harm the overall articulation of the rear suspension. In addition to that bind as you get under articulation, they're relatively squishy, which is counterintuitive. That deflection will actually degrade your handling characteristics. To counteract all that, Icon's developed an all-new rear track bar. This guy is machined out of 6061 billet aluminum solid bar. We basically just threaded the ends on here so we can have our rod ends for adjustment. And this solid bar is going to resist bending and handle much more load than the stock tube would. This is also adjustable while installed in the vehicle. You basically just loosen the jam nuts on either end, and these are left and right hand threads, and then you just spin the bar and it'll change the lengths, suck it in or out, make it longer or shorter as needed. To facilitate that, we have these nice flat sections machined into the bar so you can get a big crescent wrench on it and just make it real easy to turn. So it can all be done on the alignment rack. Make sure that rear end is properly centered on the truck, which is super important. As we lift the rear end, you kind of need to make this guy longer. Instead of bushings on either end, we use these really beefy JM12 rod ends that are basically a hard mount. And so they're going to have zero deflection, unlike what you get out of a rubber bushing. And that hard mount is going to basically improve the handling characteristics of the truck. You're going to get no unwanted side-to-side suspension movement as those bushings would deflect. So you're going to have much better handling characteristics and an overall tighter feel of the rear end. The articulation is improved because these guys will pivot around the ball with basically zero resistance. So the rear end and the track bar can do exactly what it needs to do to get over the obstacle, improve articulation, much better than any sort of bonded bushing would. Overall, for a very modest price point, this is a huge upgrade to the rear end of the Tacoma, especially if you're going to lift it. It's something that I always recommend, even on a modest suspension setup. Make sure you head on over to iconvehicledynamics.com/Tacoma to check out all the new products in addition to the rear track bar that we have coming out. We're real excited for this truck, and we've got a lot more coming, so we'll see y'all next time.